All right. Hello, outlets.
Hi!
Welcome to another episode of Shameless Plugs. As always, I am J.A. George, joined by...
Samantha the Writer.
We're excited today.
Very, very excited. Like, so excited we might not even talk about the weather.
We are probably not going to talk about the weather today. We're excited because we have another guest on our show today. This is one, somebody that I met recently, really enjoy her work, so we are very happy and pleased and grateful to welcome Sophia LeRoux to the Shameless Plugs podcast. Hey, Sophia.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Great, how are you? Samantha's waving at the phone, which doesn't work for our listeners or you, but...
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Waving is fun.
Yeah, waving is fun. So, thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it when authors are willing to trust us with presenting them to the world. Yay. So thank you for that.
And welcome to our delightful little basement studio here in Cincinnati.
Yes, yes. Via the wonders of cellular phone, welcome to the basement studio. So, started off with the most basic question. Tell us about what you write, Sophia.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
Who would have thought our first question would be the stumper?
Yeah.
It's an easy question, Let's see. I'd have to say what I stick with personally is really anything to do with, like, paranormal or supernatural, but my thing is I always throw in some kind of romance, because it's my thing. Like, I couldn't just write, an action book and, not put some kind of romance in there, but I don't know. That's what I feel the strongest, so it's the easiest thing to write.
Gotcha.
I love too. I also have, like, when I'm writing, I also have to try to toss something in there that's just like, oh, love.
Okay, sure.
Well, because that's the thing is, like, I love, like, myths and legends and stuff like that, but the thing is I like to put, like, my own kind of twist on it. So, like, if you take something, like a fairy, then I'll basically, like, make up, a certain kind of magic or just a completely different characteristic than something you would read in a book. I mean, it's probably in a book somewhere, but, not a book I've read.
So you're kind of the paranormal version of what I do, because I like to take myths and stuff and make them science fiction-y.
Yeah,
so,
there it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is it about paranormal? Is there something in particular that draws you to that? Or even the romance side? Is there something specifically that draws you to that, and that's why you enjoy working in that area?
I think it's just the fact that it's so magical. The world, I'm not going to say the world's bland, but I mean, it's a little bland. So, like, when you take something like fantasy and you throw it into a story, I mean, it makes it so much more interesting, especially, like, nature-related magic or anything like that, because I love nature. Like, I'm very outdoorsy, so to be able to throw something, like controlling the elements into a book, I mean, that's just something I really vibe with.
We were both about to start
we were both
talking,
about to say something,
go
which
for it, Samantha.
doesn't work very well when you're recording stuff.
No.
So, you said you like to create different kinds of magic. Do you have a favorite kind of magic that you've created or built, or just like some kind of power you wish you had in real life to make the world less bland?
That could take us down a whole long road, Samantha.
You are welcome, Ja. You are welcome. I hope you didn't have any questions.
You're going to put me on a 20-minute monologue in a second here.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right, because then you're going to have to share, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well...
I will let our guest go first, however.
Let me think. If I could have any power, it would probably be the ability to control the elements, because, I vibe with nature and all that. Like, I like going outdoors. I spend a lot of time in the woods. I love water. My only problem is, in my books, the same kind of magic I use really is fire. There's always fire. And so if you go ahead and you throw fire into the world, it would be a little less bland, but I don't really know if it would be better.
Very true.
Well, there might not be much of it left, but,
Yeah, that's very true.
Unfortunately, nature tends to be flammable, but
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
It's fine.
My choice. I'm not going to go on a monologue.
No, don't.
I'm not going to go on a monologue.
But answer the question, because I know you want to. So.
I want to control electricity.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Okay? It'd be really cool.
That would be kind of cool.
Flight, turn off
And you
devices.
wouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, there
Save
we
money.
Go. Save money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Nice. That wasn't too bad. You didn't go too far.
No, I said I'm not going to monologue. I could have monologued. I'm not going to. I am
I
not.
know.
I am not a 1970s supervillain. I am not going to monologue.
If I could have one power. Is that good 1970s? I don't
Okay,
know. I was not there then.
I'm aware you were not there then. I could have monologued. I didn't. Give me a little
No,
credit.
you did good.
Okay, so
Moving on.
back to our
Focus.
guest. So let's take it to the basic level. Where can people find your work? If people want to read your work, where should they be looking for you? And what do you have out there?
Really right now I just have the one. It's the, that Ashes of the Fae book, on Amazon.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that's the only place I actually have it right now. It's like an Amazon exclusive thing
Okay.
for the time being.
Cool.
Do you want to tell the readers? Do you want to
Yes.
tell potential readers?
Yes, I was just going to say, do you want to tell
same.
potential readers?
What it's about?
Oh, let's see. It's like I wrote it, and then you sit there and you think about it, and you're just drawing complete blanks. Let me think about it. Okay, let's see.
Pull up the
I tried to
synopsis
throw
on Amazon.
some like. Do you guys know who Brian Froud is? Have y'all ever seen Labyrinth?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So think Labyrinth. I mean, a lot of the like the concept stuff for Labyrinth came from Brian Froud. Like he's the guy that makes like all these fantasy books, like fairies and gnomes and stuff like that. So basically, I was just going through his fairy book one day, going through all the different characters, good and bad, and actually I just basically kind of cherry-picked a few, the ideas that I liked, and I just kind of intertwined them into like a romance story, which it's actually kind of dark, so I wouldn't just call it a romance story. some bad stuff happens, but without giving too much away, I mean, it can get pretty hardcore, because like the whole topic of like kidnapping, especially when it comes to kids, that's a really touchy thing.
Yeah.
But that's like basically what happens in the very beginning of the book.
Gotcha.
And so she spends, the whole beginning part of the book trying to find her daughter,
Wow.
and things just kind of spiral out of control from there.
Sounds intense.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can do dark topics, and if you do them the right way, they don't become overly heavy. They don't, drag the reader down, though. So.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes writing on dark topics, especially doing it in a, in a way that is purposeful and meaningful, can also be educational in a lot of ways. So if you're like using it as a tool to like get someone to think a certain way or to move with your characters in a certain direction, like I think that's a really effective way to use darker, scarier things in writing.
Yeah.
Because I think as writers,
it's kind of like that whole, like yin and yang concept of like, if there's no bad, then you're never really gonna know what's good. I mean, obviously you'll know what's good, but it's like, when you're having a really bad day, then you look forward to having a good day. I mean, you gotta have the bad with the good. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think that's
absolutely.
why I like putting the bad in my stories.
Yeah.
Well, you're
It's
obsessed
like,
with fire,
these
so.
people in this book are really bad off. Okay, so your day's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
Wait, it's Ashes of the Fae. We're back to fire.
We are back to fire, yeah.
Back to fire.
Back to fire.
There's a lot of fire. Yeah.
Now, I've also read some of your work on Wattpad. You've got the Countdown story out there, right?
Yeah, I did. I threw that out there. I don't really know if I'm going to keep going with it, because actually originally when I wrote it, it was just supposed to be, like just a little short fiction thing, but it just kind of came to me one day.
So, I have a question about that. This is my personal curiosity as a reader. So, indulge me for a second. That felt more like it was going down the sci-fi track than paranormal. Was I reading that correctly, or if you had continued with it, would it have gone more in the paranormal direction?
That one is more exclusively sci-fi because it's really heavy on like the alien invasion type stuff. Another book that I'm actually writing right now that's coming out next year is also another really heavily sci-fi one, but there's romance thrown in that one too. I mean, if I were to keep going with the countdown, I'd probably end up throwing romance in there too, which is another reason I'll probably just keep it as like a short work, you know? I'll be like, here, action, death. Okay, somebody's got to kiss somebody.
Anybody, some character come forward.
I don't even care anymore. Just somebody kiss somebody, okay?
You? We're gonna play Spin the Bottle in a minute.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's so great.
I love it.
Oh dear.
Okay, yeah, we're venturing into the slap happy. This is usually a territory that hits Friday afternoon at work.
Yeah, so. This is going in a direction that was unexpected. It's all good.
Yeah.
Comedy hour on Shameless Plug.
Yes.
I was clearing my throat. I didn't.
Oh, I thought you were about to ask another question.
I can, though. I have another question.
Okay.
So, who do you read? You know, obviously you're talking to potential readers of your work. Mm-hmm. Who do you read? Who inspires you?
Oh, let's see. My reading list is very, I guess, sporadic. Like, usually I really like old books, like old, you know, like, you smell it, it's musty, it smells, you know, like 200-300 years old.
Oh, yeah.
But if I actually had to throw out names, I'd probably say Darren Shan. He's actually somebody that I read when I was a kid.
Okay.
I say kid, like an early teenager. But he wrote, his stuff was like kind of vampire heavy, at least in like the young adult sense. Like, it wasn't like, you know, Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
But, and then there was Edward Gorey, where he actually did a lot of illustrations. He did more illustrations than writing.
Yeah.
But his illustrations, I mean, they inspire stories because, you know, he just draws the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, those are the two that stand out the most for me.
Oh, that's cool.
I remember book titles, but I'm not as good with names of authors, which is really terrible to say, but I'm better with like names of books than I am with actual author names.
No, I think it's really cool that one of the, you know, when we say, you know, we always ask other writers, who do you read? Who do you read? And for you immediately pull out an illustrator. I think that's amazing.
No, that's
because
awesome.
I feel like our illustrator friends, the very important cover artists and picture book artists and graphic designers, don't get as much love sometimes as the writers that they're working with.
Especially when you think about the books, if it weren't for the cover, how likely would people be to read it?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, that's like the biggest pull aside from like the blurb.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover.
Too bad.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I've never done that in my life.
Oh, you judge it by the spine? Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, yes. Correct.
It's quite an interesting blue they used.
Cerulean. And speaking of which, if we have any cover artists or designers and so on who would like to come on the show, we would love to actually talk to somebody from, you know, another aspect of the writing world.
Absolutely. Find us. Reach out to us in all of the usual places.
Edward Gorey, actually, I feel like he inspired so many people today, and so many people don't have any idea who he is.
Yeah, agreed.
Nope.
He
was a great dude.
If you've ever seen a Tim Burton movie...
Yeah. No, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
So, I know you mentioned something you've got coming out next year. Is there anything else on the horizon coming up for you that people would be able to check out soon?
Oh, man. This year, I think the only thing that I have coming out is the Where the River Runs Black, which is actually supposed to be coming out this fall.
Okay.
That one, it's actually kind of funny because I'm still halfway through it, so I still have, you know, the other half of the book to actually finish.
I'm mean, no
I
pressure.
actually haven't watched much Game of Thrones, but it's kind of got like a Game of Thrones vibe, kind of crossed with like Memoirs of a Geisha, which is a really weird thing to cross a story with, but it's kind of the same concept.
And there's our comp win for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But that's really cool.
That is really cool. I agree, yeah.
Crossing things that don't seem like they would work together or don't seem like they would make sense together or where you get some of the coolest, most unique, most interesting stories from. So
my brain immediately went, interesting.
Yes.
I will have to check that out. So
my brain immediately went.
It's another like touchy subject, but kind of because it's kind of got like child servitude in it, which is another thing that's really sensitive to touch on. But.
So fire and being horrible to children?
It depends on how you do it.
I mean, like, just throw him a couple coins. Like, it's cool.
Is the next book you write going to be about burning children?
That's in Game of Thrones.
Sorry.
No,
That's in Game of Thrones.
I'm sorry. I should really shut up. I'm painting our guest.
Yes.
I'm painting our guest in a very bad light because I'm trying to be
good.
funny. I'm going to stop. I apologize. So. And Samantha is going to cover the rest of this conversation. So.
You have been kicked off the podcast.
Yes.
No, that's again, and I feel like maybe you are leading us down the path to a really great podcast episode here, because how do you write about touchy things? All of us have to get it at some point. I mean, Ja talks about breaking out of prison and stuff.
Yes,
in
I
his, and that can be touchy. And I in the stuff that I'm working on, I mean, within the first 10 pages, my narrator is attacked and blinded. So like, how do you talk about touchy things? How do you talk about things that need to move your story forward, but can maybe hit against some mainstream norms and those kind of stuff? I think we should definitely cover that, because it's important. It's important to our craft, because there are ways to do it really well.
Yeah.
And there are ways to not.
Yeah.
There are ways to not do it well at all. So, and it takes a lot of balance, and I think that is the thing that, maybe is like under the writer's sheet or whatever, because you've got those drafts where you took it way too far, and you're like, no, that should never see the light of day. But we all have them. We all have to have them, because if we don't take it too far at one point, we're never going to know how to rein it in and use it to enhance our characters and our story.
Well, it's kind of like, that's the whole reason that I like stories like that, is because that's what they're supposed to do, is kind of, open your eyes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
To things you wouldn't even think about. And I mean, even if you've never been through it, if it's written well enough, and if you read it, in some ways, one way or another, you'll feel it. I mean, at least a semblance of it,
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things where, what I've learned is, like, you want to tell it like it is, but you kind of want to not really sugarcoat it, but just kind of gloss over the really bad stuff, like instead of saying somebody gouged somebody's eyes out, you could say, well, he hit him in the eye or something. I mean, that's a really bad example, but
no, that's cool. I have used all kinds of words like gouge and hit and all kinds of stuff in that scene, so it's cool. I'm still working through it.
But I think sometimes you have to deal with inhumanity to tell a human story.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
I mean, you touched on my work. It talks about breaking out of prison, but it's not just about breaking out of prison. It's what pushes people to the point where they want to break out of prison, and the inhumanities and the indignities and the loss of dignity that people face in prison. That's the darker side of it to get to that point.
Right. And when that topic is, again, genuine to your character, genuine to your narrator, genuine to the story you're telling, I think there's it feels different when you read it, instead of it just being like, and then I was walking down the street, and then I decided to stab this guy with this knife I just happened to have in my boots. Like, no, that doesn't work. I'm sorry. Like, that's just violence for violence, It's like, Whereas if you build it out like, oh yeah, I'm a super cool, awesome assassin that keeps knives in my boot, and that guy over there is this dude that I just gotta get, like, then it's like, okay, yeah, I get it, like, you're kind of a weird person, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this has been Pantsing with Shameless Plugs.
Yes. So what we've established is there is a difference between Deadpool and the person who kills for self-defense or whatever.
This is true, yep. Conquering major issues today.
Oh look, J.A. George made a comic and movie reference. Shocking.
All in one! I got the reference.
Yeah. I've heard of Deadpool.
I can spell Deadpool without looking. Anyway.
Yes. So.
We gotta bring this train back.
Yes, we do. But I think to your point, though, that was a path worth going down.
I agree,
because it is something that we need to deal with as writers. It is something that I think can enhance your work. And it, that's part of, in my opinion, the core of what we do, confronting some of those topics that people don't want to confront, whether it, even when you're writing something for the purpose of entertainment, you can add depth in those ways by addressing real things and putting people in it's a real dilemma for the characters. It enhances the work, I think.
I agree.
Exactly. I mean, it's all part of, like, like the human condition. Like, if we never knew anything, if we never saw any of these, apocalypse movies or, like, zombie movies or books, mentally, would we really be prepared for it if it happened, if we had never read about it or seen it? I mean, it's kind of like a mental preparation, maybe even a little bit of emotional preparation, if you get that into it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But, I mean, we need it.
If I never watched The Walking Dead, I would not know that cities are a bad place with zombies.
If I had never seen Dawn of the Dead, one of my former coworkers and I would never have come up with escape routes to get out of the office safely.
Very important, especially with our current configuration.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think it's so true, because it's like, you don't, well, I guess to cliche this a little bit, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So the second that we watch something that takes us out of our element, whether it be zombies or vampires or even stories about the war, like, the second you're taken out of that element, all of a sudden your mind just opens up and it gives you perspective you don't usually have.
I also think you hit on something important there, though, Sophia, because in those stories, zombies, apocalypses, what is it that we're drawn to? It's the characters who are still alive, who are dealing with those horrible situations.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, even if you think you're not going to make it, there's a really small part of you that wants to.
Yeah, you got that survival instinct.
Exactly, yeah. Well, two of us do, Sophia. Two of us have a survival instinct.
So this is a conversation that Samantha and I have had before. If there's a zombie apocalypse, my plan is to keep my family safe as long as I can, and if anything happens to them, I'm a buffet. I'm just walking into the midst. Go ahead, shout out.
So sad.
I don't want to live in the wasteland.
And that'll take us in a different direction, but
yes.
I wouldn't mind living in the wasteland. I'm kind of a quiet person. If I have my little cabin out in the middle of nowhere with my little garden and just my little life, and I can just, like, keep...
And that's what I got. That's why I'm prepared for it. Like, I'm up in the mountains, far away from people, in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I think I'd be good for a little while.
Until
people,
I think so.
Figure out how to get up there and then start trying to steal your stuff.
But you're 5 steps ahead of everyone else.
You're already ahead. All you gotta do is, like, put a couple trees in the road. No one will know what to do, so...
Yeah. Look.
Oh my gosh, there's a tree. I must turn around.
Like ants. Did you ever see A Bug's Life?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember when the leaf fell down?
Yes.
Where did we go?
That's great. Yeah, I feel like that's how it would be, though.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chalk this
And
up.
that's why, like, stories like that help, you know,
Yeah.
someone in a situation of, I don't know what to do.
Well, I read this book one time that told me I should.
I'm just gonna chalk this up to being an introvert because I don't like people, including undead ones. So.
But if you're not around them, if you get away, I may take Steven with me.
You may take your husband with you. That's.
If he can keep up, if he can run as fast as I can, then yeah, he can come.
But you always need that one person to trip just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah.
What monsters am I having a conversation with right now?
You are having a conversation with your podcast co-host,
So,
who is amazing, and our guest, who is also amazing. I don't really see an issue here.
Thank you, Outlets, for joining us on the last ever episode of Shameless Plugs.
No, we've threatened that before. It's not true.
Damn it, I have threatened that before. But anyway.
We have said that before. That is not true. We at least have to finish the prompt challenge.
Oh yeah, we've got at least one more
We
episode.
have at least one more episode, so.
And since we're
Yeah,
called Shameless Plugs, I'm
yeah.
just going to throw the plug
Go
in
for
now.
it. Do it.
Last episode, if you have not watched or listened, go back, watch, listen. It is our prompt challenge.
It's only like 6 minutes
Yeah,
long.
it's a
so-
short episode.
But finish this episode
Yes.
first.
Finish this. Listen to Sophia.
Yeah.
We don't want to be mean to
No,
Sophia.
we don't want to be mean.
She's cool.
Yeah.
So
listen to her.
Yeah.
And then as soon as this episode ends,
yeah.
go back.
Go back, listen to the prompt challenge. More importantly, join in the prompt challenge.
That's
Send
the
us your
important
entry.
part.
0 to 1,000 words. The prompts are up there. Mm-hmm. We will feature our favorites on future episodes. You will get to read on the air, or we can read your story for you. Either way.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever you prefer.
Crazy voices may apply.
Crazy voices may apply.
Just saying.
0 to 1,000 words. If you want to write a 50-word microfiction, that's cool.
I mean, you could send us also just a word.
Yeah.
But
If you can
No.
do the prompt challenge in one word, please do. I would be very impressed with that.
I would as well. And it would make for a very short episode again.
Yes. So, anyway, our next episode, our last episode, excuse me, will
Yes.
be us reading our prompt challenges.
I mean, maybe. It might be the last one.
Might be.
You could get over it before then.
Or maybe the apocalypse will hit and I'll be a
That
buffet.
could be, but yeah, but I'll be ready.
Okay. So,
So, moving on.
where are people going to be able to find your work going forward, Sophia? Because I'm prompting you because there was some exciting news shared recently that we are very excited about and want to give you an opportunity to share.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right actually, because basically at the end of this year, everything that's going to be coming out for me, and actually for a couple people that I work with, who I'm also going to mention at the end of this, all of my books are going to be coming out through a new company that we just started up called Kyanite Publishing. And we got all these different imprints for it, different things, because not everybody, wants, erotica in their sci-fi stories, so you kind of got to separate them from the pack. But yeah, pretty much everything I'm going to write from now on is going to be published through there. I don't really know what else to say about that. I'm not good at this.
No,
I'm bad at pitching.
Are you guys online, or how can people find your company?
Yeah, it's basically it's going to be through every online outlet, like Amazon. We're going to have it probably Barnes & Noble. We're going to try to see if we can get physical books out there in the stores. So really anywhere that we can put them, we're basically going to try to put them. The one imprint that we actually have, Glass, is going to be exclusively ebooks, and I actually think it might just be exclusively on Amazon. We still are kind of working around that. But, yeah.
Nice.
That is really,
That
really,
is
really cool news.
Yeah.
And
It's exciting.
we of course wish you all the success in the world.
Absolutely, yeah, that's so cool.
It's really cool to have another publisher out there, another independent publisher, more opportunities, more voices. That's a very cool thing for the industry and for you guys as writers in particular.
Exactly, yeah.
How long have you guys been working on this?
Probably a couple months. We started that Peak Story Review site a while ago, because we wanted to be able to, read other indie authors' books and kind of, tell people what we thought about them. But from a less like a less strict standpoint, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, your formatting was all bad, and so I'm taking off, 3 stars. I mean, we weren't trying to be that strict. It's just, I don't know. We were trying to make it more about the story and the flow, than just the grammar and, typography and stuff.
Cool. Nice. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I think it's really cool.
Yes. And you guys are planning a magazine as well, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. We got the Kyanite Press, which is actually going to be a bi-monthly thing. And basically, any indie person that writes, they just, if they want to submit something to us, then basically we'll go over it. And if we want to put it in one of our bi-monthly editions, then we'll go ahead and throw it in. And with every edition, we actually have a contest running where basically, our favorite fiction or poem or whatever somebody decides to put in there could win like $100, which is a big deal. A lot of these indie authors, they deserve so much more than that. I wish we could give them more than that, but
right.
We're starting from scratch too, so one day.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yes.
That's incredible, because I think if you're giving people the opportunity, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep looking for you. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to look and tell other artists. And with your magazine, do you also have opportunities for like graphic artists or print artists or anything like that? So if someone's an illustrator, could they send you something as well, or is it primarily writing?
Oh yeah. If somebody had any illustrations, they could send them in as well. We were focusing primarily on the writing, because I know that when it comes to illustrations, we were trying to kind of keep a theme, especially if it's like, it's a sci-fi magazine, so like you're not going to throw, like a drawing of a naked woman in there. But you could, but you probably lose a couple people that didn't come there for that.
Unless you're going in the outlaw star direction. So wow, there we go.
Yeah. But we're gonna have the Halloween edition too, which is actually gonna be. It's going to be bi-monthly, but Halloween, we wanted to do like a shorter special Halloween edition, with all the horror stories.
Yeah.
If anybody did have horror illustrations, throwing stuff like that in there. It's going to be so much fun.
That's cool. That
is really cool.
Yeah. Halloween is a beloved holiday here on the podcast, so that's incredible.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so we are going to ask the 3 questions that we ask of every one of our guests now. Are you ready, Sophia?
Oh, man. Maybe.
Okay.
All right. That's
here it goes anyway.
That's fine.
Here it goes anyway. That was not one of the 3, by the way.
No. So, our first question that we ask everyone, and it is a long-running debate on this show, if you've listened to any of our other episodes. Are you a plotter, or are you a pantser?
I'm actually neither. Or you could probably say I kind of fall somewhere in between, because it really just depends. Like, sometimes I'll write a little bit of an outline here, but then, I'll write, 10 whole pages of something, and I'll kind of get stuck, and then I'll write a little bit more of an outline here. Like, I've never done one or the other for an entire story.
Gotcha.
Nice. All right. We'll take it.
Yeah.
My team is the better team, but it's fine. I understand.
That's so far from true, but whatever.
Whatever.
Silly pantsers. I'm writing a story about the apocalypse. Oh, wait, now it's sunny, and there are bunnies. That's the kind of thing you pantsers do. Whatever.
On the other side of things, in point 1, character enters. Point 2, character sits in seat. Point 3, character says.
So what if
really?
my
I think apocalypse to bunnies is a lot more fun.
So what if my prose is bullet points? Whatever.
Is what it is, I guess. So our second question is, where do you get your best ideas?
Probably everywhere. The first book that I ever actually wrote, like actually typed on paper, I wrote a book when I was a kid, but basically I just kind of ripped out pieces of notebook paper and just kind of scribbled until I had 100 and some pages. I don't even know where that book is. But the next book that I actually seriously wrote after that, it started with a dream.
Oh,
and basically I woke up, I was like, all right, I'm just going to write what I saw down, and then it turned into this whole 300-page story. And I was like, oh, okay. But otherwise, just really doing anything. I've actually been getting a lot of ideas from mowing lately, which is a little weird.
Okay. Nice.
But I've been getting a lot of ideas from mowing, because I use a push mower.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a difference, but I mean, hey, you know, that's where I get the ideas from, so I'll go with it.
Yeah.
No, mowing the grass is prime.
Yeah.
That is that's good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. I mow the grass as well with a push mower, and you know, you just get into it, and then all of a sudden you're just like mowing the grass, and you're like, idea!
Yeah.
Idea!
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you gotta stop, and you gotta run inside, and you gotta write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you keep writing, and half your yard is mowed, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a side effect of being a writer, so.
Yeah, exactly. And our last question. What do you want to plug? It can be anything.
Anything.
Oh, man. Can it be any one?
It can be.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so, I'm actually gonna plug, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. There's a BK Bass, him and, another girl, her name's Dee Hart. I've actually been following both of them ever since I got on Twitter, and they've been, like, huge inspirations for me, just really morally supportive. They're great people. And BK also writes, his book was actually one of the last ones that I read, Sea Haven, and it was good. I mean, it was so good. And he's actually one of the people that's working with me, and then another person I want to plug, Samantha Hendricks, SJ Hendricks. She's on Twitter as well. She's actually in the process of writing a book, but she's got so much potential too, and she's actually she's the CEO of Kyanite, so that's kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, that's huge.
And it's great. And then I guess the last person I gotta Remember Me, and that's actually kind of unrelated to writing. I mean, actually he does write, but he actually started out doing primarily music, and he's got a lot of potential in there too. But I like his stories because his stories are real dark, you know, kind of got this sleepy, hollow vibe going to him. Like a little mix of like Borderlands. I don't know if y'all play video games, but if you do,
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
you know, he's kind of got that Mad Max. You do? Okay, good. I do too.
Yeah. Nice.
So that's awesome. But yeah, that's all I got for now.
Nice.
Great. Well, thank you as always, outlets, for listening. All of the information to get to Sophia's work and to Kyanite and to the other authors that she plugged will be featured on our site. So go there to check out the links and everything. Thank you again, Sophia, for joining us. Thank you for trusting us to have this conversation. We genuinely do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I know we will be...
Great talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I know we will be seeing more of you in the future. So
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
thank you, everyone, and that'll do it for another episode. Bye, outlets.